Hey guys, and welcome to Snoozers or Losers for Week 9. We've got Tony from Fantasy Quick Hits and Kyle from Boom Bust Fantasy Football joining us to tell you their Snoozers and Losers for the week. Y'all ready to get started?
Yeah, what's up, fellas?
Yeah, let's get it.
Kyle with the elf right side for it, for sure. Alrighty, let's go ahead and pull up the big board over here. And let's see, I'll move myself right over here to the front. Yeah. All right. So let's start off with some quarterbacks. And here's quarterbacks we got queued up for tonight. Kyle, who's your first quarterback you're going to talk about tonight?
My quarterback snoozer is going to be Tua Tagovailoa against Houston. I had a little bit of a down game last week against Buffalo and their defense, which is what we expected. But this week against Houston's horrible defense, he's got Devontae Parker back. That can only help. I think he has a real bounce back week and does really, really good this week.
Cool. Tony, what you got?
Okay, you know what? I'm going to go in a different direction. Kyle gave you his snoozer. Let me give you my loser of the week, and that would be Mr. Ryan Tannehill. I got to tell you, I'm really concerned about Ryan Tannehill with this injury to Derrick Henry. This offensive scheme that Tennessee runs, they really rely heavily on a strong running game. Tannehill really looks to that play action pass with Derrick Henry. Without him running the rock, I'm concerned what this passing game is going to look like. Von Miller is now in LA. This defense just got a whole lot scarier. So I'm looking for a down week on Ryan Tannehill. I want to see what they look like, again, without Derrick Henry. I'm not expecting good things from them, though.
Yeah, a lot of unknowns right there.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Kyle. Who you got as your quarterback loser?
For my quarterback loser, hit me with Bridgewater, Teddy Bridgewater at Dallas. This guy didn't do anything last week against Washington, the worst passing defense in the league. And Dallas actually looked pretty respectable against Minnesota and Justin Jefferson. Thielen had a good game, but I mean, I don't see Bridgewater doing better than Kirk Cousins. So I've got him even in what should be a good matchup as a loser this week.
Cool. Alrighty. Tony, who's your snoozer?
Yeah, so obviously we got the only guy left here on the board, Carson Wentz. He's going to be my snoozer of the league, and I got to tell you, I really like Carson Wentz. He has been coming on this fantasy season, and he's really quietly posting some solid numbers. The Jets are one of the worst defenses against the pass, and I expect Wentz to continue his strong season. This, depending on your league settings, Wentz right now is somewhere between QB 11 and QB 14. He's only had 1 week less than 18 points. That might surprise some people. And I know we can't do this, but if we move that one game where he had a kind of an anomaly and posted 8 points, he's in the top 10. So I look for him to finish in the top 7 this week against that Jet defense.
Cool. Sounds like a plan. All right, guys, I've got my wild card quarterback for you. Neither one of you know what's coming here, but I need you to come to a consensus on this person. And I'm going to throw out Mike White. Snoozer or loser this week for Mike White after a pretty good performance. He's playing the Colts this week. What you think, Tony? What you think?
Yeah, hard to believe that we're even talking about Mike White. But
Right.
after posting those monster numbers against that Bengals defense, you just can't ignore it. So this defense, Indianapolis, they're the second or third worst against the pass. And you've got to put him in your snoozer column. If you're playing Mike White, it's because you've got someone on a bye. Or maybe an injury. Maybe you had Winston as a quarterback, and you play 2-quarterback league or super flex. So Mike White is definitely going to be a guy that you can turn to. I like him. Put him in that snoozer. I also like the fact that we get to watch him on Thursday night.
Perfect. Kyle, are you in agreement?
I actually agree with him 100%. Yes.
Ding, ding, ding. Awesome. Yeah,
We
I
actually
agree.
agreed. We agree.
Oh my gosh.
I like it.
Man, that was easy on that one. Perfect. Well, let's move on to running backs then. All righty. Kyle, I'm going to let you go first here on your running back. Who you got?
I'm going to hit you first with my loser running back of the week, and that is Joe Mixon.
Ouch.
Yeah, it hurts. People love Joe Mixon, including myself. Last week had a great game against the Jets. This week he's up against Cleveland, which is not a great matchup. So for me, I think, and honestly, this is the start of what turns out to be, as Tony will attest, a pretty rough schedule for Joe Mixon going forward. So starting this week, he is in my loser column.
As OU fans, that's really tough to swallow.
It is.
Tony, who you got?
This time I'm going to follow Kyle's lead, and I'm going to give you my loser of the week, and that's going to be Michael Carter. A lot of people rushing out to grab this guy. He surprisingly is still available on some waivers. I don't trust him this week. Although we have Mike White in our snoozer column, Indianapolis, they have the third toughest defense against running backs. And I just don't see him producing like he did in week 8. The New York Jet offense has been mostly anemic all year. And for me, I see Michael Carter more as a sell high candidate. I want to kind of try and get value from him after that monster game on week 8. So I expect him to crash back to earth this week, though, against this Indianapolis defense.
Hey, who knows? Maybe Mike White is just that special sauce to put on Michael Carter. Maybe that's all he needed.
Well,
he
he
could
picked up a bunch of targets.
Passes.
He picked up a bunch of targets and passes, so that certainly helps his value. But I think that week 8 performance will be more of an anomaly.
Yeah.
Yep. Agreed. Well, Tony, while you're at it, go ahead and give us your snoozer.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. I see the two guys that are left, and to think that we're putting these guys in our snoozer columns, kind of obvious. I want to put Ekeler there because certain guys I just like to talk about, and Ekeler is one of those running backs. And the reason why I'm putting him in this snoozer column is because I've seen some rankings where they have him closer to 10. And this is a guy to me this week who can finish as the RB1, the number 1 running back. For week 9, I just don't see him in that 9 to 10 range. He lines up against a very, very suspect Philadelphia run defense. They are ranking 27th versus the running back position. He continues to command elite touches. And this is a guy who, if you have him and you're playing him this week, obviously, but he's the type of guy that can win you your week's matchup.
Definitely so. All right, Kyle, so I guess that leaves you.
Yeah. Hit me with that Zeke sauce. Yeah, man. He had a little bit of a down week against Minnesota with Cooper Rush at QB. But like we saw last year versus this year, Zeke is a completely different player when Dak Prescott is on the field. So he gets Dak back this week. Obviously Minnesota was focusing on stopping the run, basically daring Cooper Rush to beat them through the air. And he did, which kind of shocked me even. So, Zeke had a rough week next week. Denver is not as good a matchup as, say, Ekeler against Philly, but I do think he still has a real good game this week and a bounce-back effort compared to last week. And, of course, Zeke is my snoozer running back.
Love it. All righty, guys. Now it's time for the wild card. Are you ready for Khalil Herbert? Kyle, we'll let you go first on Khalil Herbert against Pittsburgh.
I've been on Khalil Herbert, but this week against Pittsburgh, I just can't get excited about it. It's a horrible matchup for running backs. And, he didn't have a fantastic week last week. I can't remember who he played now. Who did they play last week? Do you remember?
I cannot recall.
They played San Francisco in week 8.
Oh, that's right. And he struggled against them, and they're a pretty strong run defense. I think.
And Nagy was out, and he still struggled a little bit.
Yeah, and I think you'll see the same thing this week against Pittsburgh. He's a loser for me this week.
Alrighty, I'll go ahead and put him over there, and then we'll see if we play a little game of tug of war here with Tony. What do you think, Tony?
I'm going to agree with Kyle here. I don't want any part of the Chicago offense against this Pittsburgh defense. I do like Khalil Herbert. He is involved in that passing game, but Pittsburgh is ranked in the top 5 against the run. They're going to don't think they didn't see what San Francisco did last week to bottle this guy up. So they're going to load that box. And I think for me, if Pittsburgh's available, if you do DFS, that's a great streaming defense against this kind of struggling Chicago offense.
I totally agree with that. Yeah.
Yep.
That's a very good point.
Alrighty, guys. Let's move on to wide receiver then. And Kyle, we'll let you go first here. What wide receivers you got?
All right, I'm going to hit you with my snoozer, Stefon Diggs. Last week he played against Miami, and I forget who he played before the bye, but the last couple games starting to get a little back on track, starting to get in the end zone again. Got Jacksonville this week. Oh, sorry, he had Tennessee. So before the bye, I actually did write it down. I forgot I wrote it down. He had Tennessee, bye, and then Miami. Starting to get back on track, getting back in the end zone. This week he's got Jacksonville, another fantastic matchup. I think he eats again. I got Diggs as a big snoozer this week.
Perfect. Tony, who you got?
Yeah, I'm going to kind of follow along with where I went at quarterback, and I'm going to put Michael Pittman in my snoozer column. This guy is really emerging as a wide receiver 1. He's commanding a strong target share at 15 targets in week 8. He's also a deep threat, and he's a red zone target. So both of those things continue to kind of pile on and raise his ceiling. Plus here in week 9, Indy gets the Jets. So I'm expecting big things from Pittman. I think he's going to keep this momentum going, and you're going to want to have him in your lineup.
Perfect. Kyle, who's your next one?
So my loser of the week is DJ Moore. Last week he plays Atlanta, doesn't do squat. He hadn't done squat in a few weeks, and it's Sam Darnold's fault. 100% blame Sam Darnold / PJ Walker after he gets benched every week. But it's just, this is not a team you can trust right now. And they got New England this week, which will probably find a way to shut down DJ Moore. As Tony's always saying, Belichick's really good at shutting down teams' best player, and that's clearly DJ Moore right now. So I really think he's going to struggle this week.
Fair enough. Alrighty. Tony, I guess that leaves us with you.
Yeah, DeVonta Smith. He's the last guy there on the board. He's my loser. Most of why I have him appearing on my loser list this week has more to do with his matchup. The Chargers have given up the fewest points to opposing wide receivers this year. And I just see them looking for a bounce back after back-to-back losses. This defense going to come ready to play, and I think they're going to shut down DeVonta Smith in much of this passing game.
Yep. I tend to agree with that as well. All right, guys, time for my wild card at wide receiver. Are you ready? It is Marvin Jones against Buffalo. And Tony, I'm going to let you go first on this one.
Yeah, that's kind of like a softball, I think.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone's playing Marvin Jones against this Bills defense. This is definitely not a guy that I'm going to want to have in my lineup. This offense seems to be a bit of a mess. Can't quite tell who they're going to utilize most in this passing game. Is it Dan Arnold at tight end? Is it Agnew? Are we going to see Chenault get involved? So I don't know that I trust Jones enough with the volume and against this very, very, very tough defense with the Bills to have him in my lineup. So definite loser for me.
Okie dokie.
Could not agree more. Loser for me.
Alrighty. Now the
Easy
reason I
peasy.
throw him out there is because he seems to be the most reliable, whatever that means, with the Jacksonville wide receiving core. And I mean, Parker did fairly well. I mean, those wide receivers, but did better. But I feel like Miami's passing offense is also much stronger than the Jags, and I don't see the Bills having another down week like that against a weak opponent. So
I think the Bills are going to come out and destroy the Jags this week. I really do. Just beat them into submission.
see, so they'll be throwing the ball a lot. So Marvin Jones could just.
I'm not playing any Jags this week.
I gave you a softball with an oversized bat. You're welcome.
Yeah.
All righty, let's move on to tight ends then. Tony, we'll let you go first on tight ends. What you got?
Yeah, let me put Mike Gesicki out there. I'm going to put him, believe it or not, in my snoozer column. I do see his value taking a hit long term with Parker healthy and Preston Williams returning soon. However, this is a spot start just due to the great matchup versus this lowly Houston pass defense. Houston has been a top 5 matchup for tight ends. And so I expect to see another solid game from Gesicki this week.
Yep. Kyle, what you got?
I'm going to hit you with my snoozer of the week also and go Goedert versus the Chargers. Goddard's been last week he played against Detroit, and the last couple of games since Ertz left, he feels like he's not quite getting the workload we all kind of hoped he would. But I think he'll get there. I think he has a real good shot this week against the Chargers, who are horrible against the tight end. I think they're one of the best matchups for tight ends, if I'm not mistaken. So, definitely got Goddard as a snoozer and what I would consider a get right game this week for him.
Cool. And who do you got as your loser?
My loser is going to be Dan Arnold versus Buffalo. Kind of following, I guess, in the way of the Jags against Buffalo, not starting any of them. He had a great game last week against Seattle. People are going to want to chase that. That's like, it's okay if you need him as a fill-in or, but this is not the week. This is not the week to play him. There will be better opportunities going forward, but not this week.
Pick and choose wisely.
Exactly.
All right, Tony, I guess that leaves you with Zach Ertz.
Yeah, no, he's definitely going into my loser column this week. I don't like him against this 49er defense. 49ers have been very, very tough against opposing tight ends. And Arizona, they just have too many other targets. They don't need to rely on Ertz. I want to kind of see what the injury report is for D-Hop. But, with those two running backs and Rondale Moore and Kirk, hopefully we'll have a healthy D-Hop. I don't think they'll be able to rely much on Zach Ertz against this 49er D. So he's a loser for me.
Are we going to have a healthy Kyler Murray? I think I read where he sprained his ankle. Does that make a difference?
Tomorrow. I mean, the first injury report comes out tomorrow on that Arizona game, so we'll have to kind of see what that tells us. I haven't seen anything to suggest that he's at risk for missing the game.
Same.
Yeah, I haven't either.
Alrighty, guys, it's time for the wild card tight end. Are you ready for George Kittle coming back off his injury, first week back against Arizona? So, what do we think on that?
For me, it's a horrible matchup, and coming back off of an injury. But it's George Kittle. Give him in your snoozer column.
Let's see what Tony thinks.
I don't know how you bench an active George Kittle, especially when you've been waiting on him for this long.
What do you think, Tony?
Yeah, he is George Kittle.
I love this.
I'm not excited about starting him. He coming off the injury, not sure how much they're going to be able to use him in the passing game. Arizona is the worst matchup for tight ends. That being said, if you have Kittle, I don't know how you don't play him. He's an obvious top 10, top 8, top 6 type talent. He's going to get the volume. I'm not sure the status of Debo right now. I know he's kind of dealing with something, but they do need another option in this passing game. So I'll agree with you, Kyle, on this. I'm going to go with Kittle in the snoozer column.
I thought you were going to go the other way. You had me in the first half. I'm not going to lie.
I was tempted. But
I have a feeling that obsessive compulsive disorder came into play here, and he just wanted the columns even.
That was, yeah. I was doing that in my head as we went along tonight. I was like, oh, hey,
it was not by design.
Get the columns even. but yeah, that was the toughest wild card you've thrown out. That's for sure.
You're welcome. Best for last. All right, guys. So let's head into overtime really quick. And I want to know your overall snoozers and your overall losers for the week. Tony, let's start with you. Give me your overall top snoozer of the week.
Yeah, my top snoozer of the week is going to be maybe a little bit out of left field, but it's going to be Marquise Brown. I love him this week coming off the bye. He's coming off a game in week 7 where he had 14 targets. He's playing a very suspect Minnesota pass defense that just got torched by Mr. Cooper Rush.
Love that.
And if Cooper Rush can pick them apart, then they're going to have a whole lot of trouble with Lamar Jackson. So I actually, to be honest, Marquise Brown, I see him as a top 5, top 6 receiver this week.
Wow. Yeah, that could be big. Don't necessarily disagree either, because Lamar Jackson has loved throwing to Hollywood Brown.
Yeah, he has.
I think I got another guy there tucked away someplace that you might not have brought out, and kind of this is my freebie of the week, just because of the matchup, and we're seeing a lot coming out of Baltimore that they want to get this rookie involved more and more in this passing game, and that's Rashad Bateman. Big fan of Rashad Bateman, and he's kind of like that X factor. They're using him in that short to mid-range game. They're using him to go deep. Look for them to try and get the ball into this kid's hands. And he could also have a very nice game this week against that Minnesota defense.
Yep. I agree with that. Kyle, who's your overall loser of the week?
Oh, my loser of the week. Honestly, I got a twofer for you on this one. Tyler Boyd, and T. Higgins against Cleveland. Because, Boyd finally got some trade value built up for you last week against the Jets. Higgins has been getting targets, not a lot to show for it. Jamar Chase is the real deal. All right, he's the real deal. They're going to lean on him. Cleveland is not a great matchup. So, yeah, Tyler Boyd, T. Higgins, don't chase them points. It's not there for them this week.
I'm convinced you're working in cahoots, fellas, to even out these columns, I swear.
You're the one that went from him snoozer to me loser. That was a host thing. That was not my plan. Happy accident, all right?
Kyle, while we're at it, give us your overall snoozer of the week. Who you got?
Just one guy here.
Okay.
And it actually kind of coincides with a couple other guys. Jalen Waddle is my guy. All right. I know Devontae's back, but that doesn't really affect Waddle so much as Gesicki. This defense is awful. I think with Tua getting right, I think Jalen Waddle will get right along with him. I see a big game from Mr. Waddle this week against Houston. Pardon me. You get tongue-tied there for a minute. Yeah.
Cool. Awesome. Tony, it's your turn. Your overall loser of the week. Who you got?
So I'm not doubling up either, but I'm going to double up on my prediction. My loser of the week and loser for rest of the season
Oh, snap.
Okay.
is
Okay.
is Damian Harris.
This got real over here.
This guy is. I love the running back. He does not get any utilization in the passing game. He is the definition of a touchdown dependent fantasy running back. He came off of some really ridiculous matchups, and he has a brutal stretch here. This Carolina defense is the number one defense against the run in week 9. I don't see him producing much. This is the type of game where he could go 12 carries for 40 yards without a score. After that, he's got Cleveland. And then weeks 12, 13, he has Tennessee, Buffalo. And then after his bye week in week 14, he has Indianapolis and Buffalo, which are all top 5 teams against the run. So I don't see this guy producing much in week 9. Outside of a matchup in week 11 against Atlanta, he has the worst running back schedule remaining in fantasy. And so if there was a time to sell Damian Harris, this is the time. My absolute loser of the week, and again, rest of season. It sounds harsh, but it's just the fact of how he's utilized in this offense with New England.
Hey, it's harsh, but that's showbiz, baby.
That's what we're here for. Alrighty, guys. Thanks for all that. Let's give y'all a little bit bigger view there of the snoozers and the losers. So take a look at that board. Let us know if you disagree with any of that down
Write
in the
them
comments.
down. Either get them in or get them out of your lineups. Do what you got to do.
Agree. Alrighty, guys. Well, that wraps up snoozers or losers for this week. Guys, I really appreciate your time. Kyle, Tony, always a good time.
Yep.
Thanks, fellas.
Appreciate you.
Thank you all for your support.
See you next time.
See ya.